Kay Harrison.
Here.
Mike Parker. Roger Tone.
Present.
Jim Snyder.
Present.
Michael Parsons.
Present.
Okey-dokey. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay. Roll. Oh, we don't have to do a roll call on that one, do we? Or do we?
No, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Too many places. Okay. Roll call, please.
Kay Harrison.
Yes.
Roger Tone.
Yes.
Jim Snyder.
Dramatic pause. Yes.
Michael Parsons. You
Yes.
guys are messing with me.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2301, an ordinance to amend Title 4 of the Rogue Valley Sewer Services Code.
Okay, this is a correction of I guess oversight from we had updated this last year. The new permit that we have for the MS4 program requires that we have erosion control plans and issue permits for any construction site that disturbs more than 7,000 square feet. There's some other language in the permit, but what we wrote into our code last year is we had 7,000 square feet for cities and a quarter acre for outside the city, and that was not correct. So this corrects that. So the threshold for requiring an erosion control plan is 7,000 square feet, regardless of where it is. And this corrects that. It does have to be in place next month. So I did declare that an emergency, so it would go into effect immediately.
Okay.
So that is part of the ordinance is say that this has to happen right away.
Okay. Anybody have any more questions?
No questions. This is your emergency become our emergency.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 23-01, an ordinance to amend. That's the wrong one. Or is it the right?
No, you're right.
An ordinance to amend Title 4 of the Rogue Valley Sewer Services Code.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Kay Harrison.
Yes.
Roger Tone.
Yes.
Jim Snyder.
Yes.
Michael Parsons.
Yes.
All right, next, resolution number 2301, appointment of budget committee.
Okay, so I do have two volunteers who have offered to serve on our budget committee, John Vile and Aaron Prunty. John is an engineer who works for the city of Medford right now. He's been around forever. He used to be in the Jackson County Roads and Parks Department. Now he's the public works director for Medford. Good on the committee there. And Aaron Prunty is the current city manager for Eagle Point. I've known him since he was city manager at Shady Cove and then he was Phoenix for a while. Now he's again. I think both of them would be really good, useful additions to have on the budget committee.
I voted to approve Aaron to become our city manager. Then he left us. His girlfriend still lives about 2 blocks from me. So I see
okay.
Okay, can we have a motion, please?
Before you get a motion, just a clarification on John Vile's background. He's not an engineer.
He's not?
No. He has served in the capacity, well, not in the capacity of an engineer, but you would expect that he's an engineer because of what he's done. But he didn't go to engineering school. He's got a degree in something. I forget what it is. It's like
It hangs on
what it is, but it's not engineering related. He's good with people. He's good with engineers. But yeah, doesn't have a license. Doesn't have the anything like that. So yeah,
just thanks for that correction.
Can you add it?
It doesn't change my opinion.
Right. It doesn't change
I mean, it sounds like all of us know these guys.
I know Aaron. I have no idea about the other.
I don't know. So anyway, now did we have a second on that motion?
You didn't have it first.
Sorry, I interrupted the motion.
No. Okay, so we need a second, right?
Well,
So made it first.
I'll
We
move
need it
for
first.
approval of the
Okay.
resolution 2301 appointment to the budget committee of John Vile and Aaron Prunty.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, now roll call.
Kay Harrison,
Yes,
Roger Tom,
Yes.
Jim Snyder,
Yes.
Michael Parsons.
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, we've all been waiting for. We've been
The
discussing
resolution
this for a few months
2302.
now, but this is kind of part of the overall succession planning. Succession planning.
How do you pronounce that word?
I still kind of have a problem with that, but you know,
Yeah, but at any rate, you know, one of the things that we're trying to do is to make me superfluous. And a way to do that is to have somebody who's going to be able to fill in when I'm gone. So we've talked about this a little bit before, and I'm recommending that we appoint Carol Balzer as deputy manager, and she would have the authority to act on my behalf to anything that I would have the authority to do if I'm away. So I think since you know, technically I'm the only employee of the board to have someone to actually fill that role, I think that does require a board action. So that's why we're bringing that as a
I think so.
yeah, I don't think I have the authority to fully delegate everything I do to someone else. So I'm putting that to you.
And we need to recognize who is to be in your stead in case you're down for a
Yeah.
day or a week. Or a
Yeah.
month or whatever.
We need to know the next person we can put the claim on.
Absolutely.
No. And so Carol's we're gonna get her to sign a card so she can sign checks.
Yes.
Are we gonna all have to redo it?
Probably, I don't know,
That's a brand new question.
Okay, I think we probably will, so, yeah, okay. So anybody else have any questions?
No, I think it's absolutely necessary that somebody fill that role.
I think it's a
from
good
a legal
idea.
perspective.
You know, we've had at least one instance that I can remember where we had to have two board members sign checks because Carl was gone. And that's, which is perfectly cool. And it's no big deal to do it that way. Having another employee that has that capability is okay.
Yeah, and there's other things. I mean, you know, we signed, you know, agreements with developers when projects come in, and the
Yeah,
you know, and a lot of times they come in.
which I couldn't do because I have.
Yeah. And so, you know, that just, you know, if I'm away and it delays their projects by a day or two, that kind of messes up their.
Most of the stuff you know that's coming up, so.
Yeah.
And so you could, and Carol could talk, yeah, so anyway, I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2302, appointment of a deputy manager, specifically named Carol Balzer.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Kay Harrison,
Yes.
Roger Tom,
Yes.
Jim Snyder,
Yes.
Michael Parsons.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So Carol, how do you feel about that?
Fine.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
no pressure?
for the February meeting, I'm going to be out of the
Right.
country. So
Yeah, I know.
And my first duty will be to run the staff meeting tomorrow and summarize the board meeting.
Cool.
Just remember, you're the only, self-criticize yourself more than you really should.
It's like.
What I've always been taught was you look at the room and pretend they're all naked.
Yeah, that would,
And
I
then you
would,
flat don't care.
would not be able to look at anyone then. That would just be, I wouldn't be able to eat. That would just be not.
Carol, well, one of the reasons why we went along with it when Carl suggested this is because we have confidence in you. Okay. All right. Next, 2303.
okay, this is a Brenda topic.
Brenda, wherefore art thou?
Brenda, well,
Because
Here she is. Brenda?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello,
Turn you up a little bit.
we're on your resolution.
Okay, resolution 2303, just to transfer appropriations. So we over budgeted on the debt service. So we need to move a little bit of money out of contingency in Fund 1 and 7. And that's just because we were unable to get the debt payoff in order in time to what we budgeted. So we had to go like an extra couple of months. Actually, it was a quarter. So that's where the over budget amounts come from.
Huh.
So it's just interest, but since then we've paid off the debt, excuse me, the debt in full.
Right. So we didn't do it as fast as we thought we were going to, and so what was budgeted wasn't enough. And so this is what's covering everything that we did to pay it off.
Yeah, there was some interest payments.
Correct. We budgeted to do it at the beginning of the fiscal year, but with all the additional items we needed to get into place before we were able to pay off the debt in full, we had to get approval from the bondholders, and that took a few months. And so in the meantime, we had accrued additional interest, and that's what those amounts are.
That's the additional interest. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I was kind of wondering why it took us so long, but then the explanation is a good explanation. So
yeah, it wasn't us timing. I did not know that we had to get the bondholders' approval, and so that's what took some extra time.
okay.
This is somebody's fault.
Okay.
Passing the blame.
It's just some things they are what they are. Hey, I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23-03, transfer of appropriations in fiscal year 2023 budget.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Kay Harrison,
Yes.
Roger Tone,
Yes.
Jim Snyder,
Yes.
Michael Parsons.
Yes.
Okay. So Brenda, you can chalk that one up to educational opportunity.
Well, and just to be clear.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We would have otherwise.
Exactly.
What we thought was the payoff was not what the payoff was.
Right. Right. And it's not any different than what we would have paid if we hadn't paid it off. If we hadn't
Correct.
already
There's no,
pay it off. So it's not a big
Correct.
deal. Just yeah.
Needed to be done.
yeah, there's no penalties or anything. It's just that additional interest than what I had budgeted for. We would have paid it if we had not paid off the debt anyways.
Yeah. Gotcha. Thanks, Brenda. All right.
Yep.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. Project updates.
All right. Let me know if you guys can, my audio starts screwing up again. Can you hear me okay right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Antelope Road, this project, Carl's applied for Clean Water State revolving funding for this, and we are putting together, well, our goal is to put together 90% plans here in the next couple of months and submit to DEQ. We're pretty far along on this, and it looks like the railroad has actually cashed our check for plan review. I don't know what that means as far as timing goes. Given the railroad, I don't think it's good news. I just think it's news. So we'll just see how that shakes out. Shady Cove Pump Station number 6. We have all the equipment and the plans approved for this project. We just need to sneak it in at some point between working on the lagoons and then doing some relocations out on 99 I'll talk about in just a minute. Shady Cove number 2, not a whole lot of work on that one. The Highway 99 project in Phoenix, I was just discussing, is on the next page here. We've got 3 total locations for relocations, 2 minor ones, just manholes, and then 1 section of pipe needs to be relocated. We submitted those plans to ODOT for review, and they're still, so the ball's still in their court. We haven't heard anything back, but when we do, we'll go out and schedule our crew to go out and relocate those. One other thing to note on that is that's not the full go ahead. We'll need to get ODOT to provide us with an easement through their right-of-way process. So that might also push that project back a little bit. So it's kind of a juggling act as far as scheduling goes for projects right now on that one. Violet Road, siphon abandonment. We're planning on bidding this spring. This is another one we've got plans just kind of waiting on the shelf, ready to go. We need to put the contract together and just put it out for bid. Our inspectors have got their feet under them now, and I think they're ready to go out and do this one. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be all night work, and it's right in the middle of 4 corners. So, but you know, they said they're up for it, so we're going to put it out here pretty quick. Fiscal year 2023 CIPP projects. What was that? Is there a question?
Not in here.
Oh,
No.
I heard there's a glitch in the audio. Fiscal year 2023 CIPP projects. We've got a package put together. It's about 5,000 feet of pipe. We're basically just ready to send that one out to bid. I'm hoping to do it maybe by the end of this month, if not this month, next month. So we'll just wait and see on that. The lagoons, this is another project that's just kind of ongoing. We are coordinating our power, a new power service with PP&L and our electrician. And I believe we have a meeting scheduled for sometime next week to get the final plans on that, just to where to put the power service, conduit, and scheduling for all that work with our construction crew. West Valley View Road and Talent, not a whole lot on that. We're just waiting for some signs to be placed. It's the last little checkbox for us to contribute funding to that project through our incentive program. Cummins Stormwater Facility, the plat for the partition to obtain the property to build this facility from a private property owner has been submitted to the county for review. That's a 30-day process. It goes 30 days. That's the rumor on the street from the surveyor. And so we should be hearing back within the next week or 2 on the status of that project. That's another one that Carl's turning the screws on us as far as the funding goes. We have to submit for a floodplain review on that. We've discussed this with the the city of Talent a little bit, and it looks like we're going to submit a proposal to maybe do a streamlined process on that. I don't have high hopes that that's going to work out, so we may end up having to do a full floodplain analysis on that, which is not, it's not a little process, let's put it that way, but I've done it in the past, we can get through it. 7th Street Stormwater Facility, not a whole lot of news on that. It's still kind of in the state wetland permitting process. SCADA and UV disinfection in Shady Cove. We did, Control Systems Northwest has been awarded the contract for the system integrator of record. We had a preliminary meeting with them last week, and they're going to start their work as far as just the existing system analysis. They're probably look at basically a gap analysis to see where we want to go and what we have. And so they'll probably give us a preliminary design report on that here in the next few months. Kevin, our treatment manager, is going to be working, or department head will be working on that. UV disinfection, kind of in the same boat. We're working with RH2. and it's in process. The city's stormwater master plan. We haven't talked a whole lot about this. We mentioned it way back in 2019 and kind of intermittently in between in the last couple of years, but it's worth mentioning because it was a lot of work for Dashton, Jenny, Carl, and myself to put this thing together. It got shelved during COVID and after the Alameda fire, but then we just submitted the draft final version to the City of Talent for review and for their council to approve it. But those of you who have seen those documents in the past, you know how big and complicated those things are. It was a lot of work, so I just thought I'd give our staff a little pat on the back on that one. That was a big undertaking. So, anyways, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Nick.
I got a question for Nick.
Yeah.
How many miles of sanitary sewer pipe does RVSS maintain?
Currently, what do we got? A total of, counting the interceptor and all our force mains, it's like 400 plus, between 400 and 450. It's kind of up for debate. It's a bit of a random number generator every time you ask GIS, but I think it's about 440 miles. Does that sound about right, Carl?
Yeah, something like that. It's in the CMOM report.
Yeah.
It's just a hair over 400.
400, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm comparing it to the rehabilitation of 1 mile that you got going on this year.
Yeah.
So that means we got a expected life expectancy of the sewer system 400 years.
Yeah. Well, we try to target about 1 to 1.5% of the total system, either replaced or rehabilitated. So, you know, that's just one project. There's some other things out there that, you know, it's a sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't.
I think that's lower than you've usually done. Seems like.
A few years ago, we were hitting it pretty hard on some of the rehab work. And we were putting up some pretty good numbers up in the 10,000 foot range. But as of recent, our capital has been kind of focusing on pump stations for the last couple of years. And then now we've got a few stormwater facilities that are kind of rearing their head and taking up some time as well. So
Antelope Road's going to take a big chunk. That's almost 5 months.
That one too.
Yeah.
That counts.
Okay, any other questions for Nick? Okay, thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Shane.
Good afternoon. To answer Roger's question, per the budget, it's 399 miles of collection system pipe and 42 miles of interceptor pipe for a total of 441.
41.
Thanks, Shane.
Yep. All right. Things of note aside from the rotational footages for last month. Lagoons, it was a banner month. I received 352,405 gallons of septage, 40,430 gallons of porta potty waste, and 26,820 gallons of fog for total revenue for the month of $62,948.25. That's probably at least top 5, if not top 3 best months we've probably ever had out there. Gold Hill special cleaning, we flushed a total of 2,449 feet of pipe, and the summary for that month for Gold Hill, we spent 5.5 equipment hours and 10 labor hours on special cleaning for a total cost of $389.23. Special cleaning summary for RVS's system, 37.5 equipment hours and 69.5 labor hours spent for the month on special cleaning for a total of $5,338.83. Outside work, contract work, City of Jacksonville, we did some routine storm drain and catch basin cleaning for them. City of Grants Pass, we video inspected a few service laterals ahead of a construction project within the middle of the city. And Jackson County roads, we video inspected some storm drain pipe down the road here on Table Rock Road for a possible warranty repair. Pump stations and building and grounds, all is quiet, nothing to report. Vehicles and equipment, Unit 32, known as the pickup that has the new engine, is back in the shop. It's still having issues with the crankshaft sensor. So hopefully we'll get that back again soon and give it another test drive. Unit 5, we actually have sold that and the buyer has picked it up. We sold that on the Oregon State auction site. We did, I guess we got two numbers. It appears that we sold on the auction for $18,800, but then there were some other fees for the bidder that appeared. The invoice that was sent to us was $22,000 and some change. So I'm not sure what percentage we get, and I don't think we've received payment from the state as of yet. And then
No,
on
we've not
1994, perfect. Our 1994 Shreko easement flusher, that's the one that we just recently received a new easement flusher for, so that'll be the next piece of equipment we'll be putting out for auction, as well as our 2007 Volvo dump truck, also known as Unit 28. I'll be also adding that to the vehicles to be auctioned list. So stay tuned. Hopefully there'll be some good numbers. Just to kind of give you an idea on unit number 5, there was an hour to go on the bid, and it was at $7,400. So in an hour, it went from $7,400 to $18,800. So that kind of would have been exciting to watch.
Bargain hunters.
So, and it was sold to a security outfit in Miami, Florida, I think.
A TV van. Okay, cool.
Shane, I have one question. This is Mike. Being a new here, what is septage?
Septage is the septic tank waste.
Okay. And fog?
Fog is fats, oils, and grease. So that is removed from food service establishment grease interceptors, either hydromechanical or gravity grease interceptors.
And porta potties, pretty well self-explanatory of
that. Yes, sir.
He calls them toilets.
Yes.
We have to find a nice name.
Yeah.
But the excess stuff with lagoons cause you any operational problems, or just have the floor?
No, it's, I mean, it can handle that without any problem. Yeah, we still haven't put the new part of it online yet. We're waiting until we get electricity out there, but you know, it doesn't give us any issues there.
Okay, any other questions for Shane? Okay, thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. We did our consent agenda. We did our deputy manager. We did our budget committee. Board elections. Everybody except for Roger. On the chopping block.
Poor guys.
So the way it's set up is there's 3 4-year terms that are open and 1 2-year term. So the position that you're in, Michael, that election is only going to be to fulfill the remainder of Wayne Brown's initial term. So the filing opens. Let's see, I put it in there. The filing opens February 1st and runs through March 16th.
February 1st?
February 4th is when it opens up. So hopefully you all run for continue your position. If for any reason you decide you're not going to, let me know so I can try to find some people to encourage.
One question for you, since we have the oddball here, it's not 4 years. How is that? How are the voters going to know the difference differentiation between the 4 years and the 2
I
years.
think it's a separate block.
Yeah,
So there's gonna be a separate block that somebody, let's just say 5 people decide to run. That they can, the individuals have to decide which they're running for.
That's my understanding,
So
yes.
you have to have some kind
So
of
when you,
label.
when you file, you're either filing for the 4-year position or the 2-year position. And yes, and then like with the 4-year position, it's gonna be vote for 3. And the 3 highest vote getters are the ones that would be elected. And then the other one would be a vote for 1. So, you know, we rarely have, you know, people that we don't expect running.
we've had it happen twice.
One year,
But-
too many people run.
Anyway, yeah, just, yeah, make sure you put your picture in it. You know, that goes a long way. I think the only 2 times that since I've been here, that an incumbent didn't win re-election was when they didn't bother putting in a candidate statement.
And we still don't know whether he would have won or lost. And
Yeah.
he wouldn't be here
Yeah,
if he won.
okay, so that's coming up. The
These
storm,
online forms are available online. What website is it on?
Jackson County
Jackson
under
County.
elections.
yeah, the county clerk's office.
That's what we can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Okay. And if you want, I mean, when it comes up, I can send you guys links if that helps.
Okay.
But it does come open. Let's see, the stormwater ordinance we already approved. Just to give you an update on the other issues that we were having there, with to satisfy DEQ with the warning letter they gave us. The training with Jackson County with Talent. Nick and I met with their city manager yesterday. They actually fulfilled all their training supposedly this morning. So that part's going to be taken care of. And then the other part that is an issue is related to maintenance of stormwater facilities that the cities are required to maintain. And so we're going to be drafting an addendum to their standard operating procedures that they're going to put into practice. But the bigger question that comes from that, we've talked about this last summer, was where do we draw the line between what's going to be privately maintained, what we're going to maintain, and what cities are going to be expected to maintain. And so that line's still not as clear as it should be. So that's something that
We're gonna have to work on that.
yeah, we're gonna try to develop a policy on that, work with it, but with Talent in Phoenix. You know, I don't think it's going to be too terribly difficult. But we'll need to, you know, kind of put together the criteria under which we would accept maintenance responsibility. So expect to see that coming up. The Southern Oregon University Laboratory of Anthropology, I'm still waiting on them to give me contracts. But they're the archaeologists that they have to do an assessment of the projects that we're doing and we're trying to get DEQ funding for. So we are moving forward with those. I've had some consultations with representatives from both the Cow Creek tribe, Cow Creek Band of the Umpqua, and the Grand Ronde, Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. So, you know, they've got concerns about making sure that we're not being reckless about the work we're doing. So
Yeah.
That's moving forward. Board dinner. So Joan's been looking at a lot of stuff, and I think the best option for us is going to be Eatonville Winery. They did say we can go inside the building. We don't have to stay up there.
Because still, even in April, it might be.
But yeah, and if that works, and you know, if that's agreeable, then you know, if you guys have dates in April, we'll try to set something up. So if you can check your calendars and just let Joan know when you would be available that month, preferably on a Saturday. But you know, I guess we're not completely bound to that.
Jacksonville Inn is the only acceptable place.
No, we told them we weren't going to come there this year, and they said there's no movies going on.
So it either be the 8th, 15th, 22nd, or 29th.
Oh,
Those are the
okay.
Saturdays.
I didn't expect that quick of a response, but that's
We might as well.
I think so.
I don't have anything scheduled, so.
I don't either, not yet. And Jim, you'll be back.
I come back the 21st of February, so I missed the next meeting we have here, but I'll be here in April, except that I have concert tickets on April 29th, which is last Saturday.
Okay,
Let me double check this first. April Fool's Day.
29th.
yeah, 29th is it, the last Saturday, yeah. Of April.
April. Oh,
2023.
Yes.
So, I don't know, the 8th, 15th, or 22nd.
22nd Earth Day.
22nd is a Saturday, and yeah, it's Earth Day, yeah,
It's Earth Day.
it's Earth.
Federal holiday.
Yeah. I'm open all three.
April 15th?
Let's do April 15th.
Tax day.
April
Tax day.
15th.
We can
We'll need a
celebrate.
dinner.
But it's
We'll
a
need a
Saturday,
dinner.
so they'll extend it to.
You're right.
David,
17th.
does
Yeah.
17th.
Yeah, so let's do it the 15th. Is that okay with everybody?
I will check to make sure that it's available.
Yeah, and just let us know. But I thought if we get it done, then it's done. And we put our.
Need a motion on that?
No.
No,
And Mike's not here to. Roll the flow.
and he will.
He does.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, moving on, staffing, we've rewritten the job description for our stormwater program coordinator. And I guess the main change that we're making is we're not looking at that being a management position moving forward.
It'll be hourly.
It would be an hourly position. It would be part of our engineering department. And then along those lines, I do propose to reduce the pay scale by about 15% to account for that. And I don't know if I need approval necessarily for that, but just let you know in case you have any objections to that. But my plan is to get that advertised here this week, and it'll probably be about 3 or 4 week process before we start interviewing. We are coordinating with our partners with Jackson County, Talent Phoenix, just I'm going to have that involved in the selection process because it is a position that impacts them as well.
So whoever you choose, are you going to have like a panel that interviews them?
Yeah. And
Those are always fun. I've done those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, ultimately, the decision is going to be my decision to make,
Right.
but the panel's there to give their input and advice.
It's a good thing.
In that kind of a position, what kind of qualifications are you looking for? Degrees, education, experience?
There's a lot of different ways it can go, but primarily, as far as skills you're looking for is you want someone, who has somewhat of an understanding of the environmental side of water quality issues, who has somewhat of an understanding of construction and engineering. So it's somewhat broad there, but really the focus is there's a lot of it. There's a really heavy administrative load on it. Good organization. You got to be able to speak and present in public because there's a lot of it that involves, there's classes you have to teach and things like that. So it's really broad. I mean, so we've had that position before filled by people with engineering degrees. We've had it filled, most recently Jenny, which, obviously she had advanced degrees, but that's not necessarily required. I mean, we would look at someone who's got an environmental science degree. We look at someone who's got an engineering degree. Really, the focus, I think, is going to be the organizational and the policy understanding of policies, and because it is a very administration heavy position with all the reporting you have to do to DEQ. The technical aspects of it, we've got a lot of people who do that work, but having someone there who understands it enough to be able to hold it all together is really what you're looking for.
You really expect to be able to find somebody in a local community who are going to be facing relocation expenses?
I think there are people local who are fully qualified that could do that, and would likely be interested. The last time we advertised this position, it was probably 10 years ago, but we had applicants from all over. We hired Jenny from Ohio. She was living in Ohio at the time. I think you're going to get people from from distant areas interested, but there are people local that I know are capable of doing that.
I guess if all else fails, you can always go to Oregon State and create a job opening for their engineering or environmental science departments.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's an entry level position. I think you do want someone who's got some experience on the policy side of it.
Because the policy side, like you said,
yeah,
that's a little heavy duty, and they have to be able to understand that. And
yeah, if you made it entry level, that puts much more of the burden back on there, and that's
right.
We don't want to do that right now.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Roger.
So, is the salary similar to what staff engineers, or not staff, the staff engineer, but like
yes,
the regular staff guys that are engineering?
So that position would be a little bit lower than our engineering position, but higher than our inspector position or technician position. It's kind of halfway in between there.
It's higher than an inspector, but the engineers that design sewer stuff in the back,
right? So
it
would be a little bit lower than our staff engineer position. I can show you our pay scale if you want to see that. But we have on our pay scale right now we have one group that is our stormwater technician, our engineering technician, our GIS specialist, and our inspectors are all on the same.
Right, where does that compare to
that? That's about 15%. This position would be about 10 or 15% higher than that group.
And wouldn't all those guys maybe be interested in this kind of position?
Potentially. I mean,
that much more.
That's that'd be their choice. I am considering with the next budget cycle, our engineering tech position moving that up to match this one as well. But that's a different discussion.
Unless you need somebody with some level of maturity too, to handle it in the personal dynamics of public speaking.
Yeah, it's an interesting position because you've got a lot of independence and a lot of latitude on how you go, and the stormwater program itself has a tendency to take on the personality of the person who's in charge of it.
I agree with that.
And we've had kind of 3 different iterations. We had when it started, I was the one in charge of it, and we had Maynard in charge of it, and we had Jenny in charge of it. Each time it changed in different ways, and I think so I think we need to be really aware of that and select the next person to make sure that that person is going to embody what we want the program to look like.
Yeah, so when you say the person needs to have a high level word that you use for ability to work with like the permit level.
Okay, yeah.
What did you say? What you used a word I can't come up with, but it sounded like not administrative, but legislative. Or
I just know. I mean, they have this policy.
Policy.
Yeah.
Okay, so policy seems like really higher level than this type of position to me. And, a little background. This was my job in the city, but amongst other things. But I was a stormwater program coordinator manager, and I did storm and sanitary sewer stuff as well. But I was involved in meetings and stuff, but I didn't do it. I wasn't the level of being, an analyst. Or how come I can't keep saying the word? The policy. Yeah. I was not at a policy level. I don't think I've ever really, I never consider myself in the policy level. So that sounds.
Well, I guess when I say that, I mean, the expectation is that they're able to understand the policy. I mean, you guys are the ones that ultimately set the policy, but I think our job is to make recommendations to what the policy should be and try to put them all together. And I think with this position, there is some expectation that they would know how to do that and know how to establish policy, because there's, I mean, it's more than just making up rules. I mean, because you got to really try to understand, all the, how it's going to impact everybody involved.
Well, they have to understand what DEQ stuff is, then what the city stuff is, and what our stuff is. And like you said, put it all together and then be able to teach that as well as implement it in certain ways. And I mean, Jane put together books. She's done, I mean, it's like Nick was saying, everybody worked on that stormwater thing. You did, he did, she did, all of that information, you have to be able to download what you have, but you also have to be able to upload all of that information in a way that you understand it and can implement it.
Yeah.
So we're looking for somebody that,
it is a unique position within the organization.
And the other thing you were right is that is the type of position that position takes on the personality of whoever's in it. That's one of those positions that does that. We've got a couple of them here.
You're hopeful that this person could teach the classes that Jared and Jenny taught?
Yeah, that's kind of, and I talked with Nick about this, that if we can find the person who can effectively teach that class, the chances are they're going to be able to do everything else also, because that's kind of the highest, that's kind of the pinnacle of, it brings together, because you have to have the knowledge and understanding of the rules and be able to present them, in a coherent way. So the skill set that can do that, and in all likelihood is going to be able to do everything else that we would want them to.
Because they have to be able to do that with all, like with talent, with Phoenix and DT.
Well, the erosion control class. I mean, we bring contractors in, and before COVID, it would be, this room would be packed. And
recently it was too.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was part of the requirements for doing any kind of project that required an erosion control permit, is you need someone who's been trained in the implementation of it. And our class that we developed here was one of the ones specifically noted by DEQ in the permit as meeting the requirements for training. So it was very popular. We had people from out of the area wanting to come to it, because it was one that was one of the few available, and there's probably the cheaper ones, but it was also a really good one. I mean, and real effective.
I think it's the only agency. I mean, it's unique, I would say, in Oregon. It's the only agency that was actually teaching a course like this that was, it was recognized by the state as an acceptable course. ODOT teaches a course that's acceptable, and then there's somebody else in Portland area that, another Oregon. But as a local thing like this is unique.
You just hit us in a nutshell.
There it is.
You've also got to find somebody who likes to be knee-deep in water. One time, where our civic center is in Phoenix, we have wetlands behind it.
Yeah.
And one day I went down there because she was in charge of doing some cleanup or something. She was actually in the water picking stuff up by herself. So
She's very hands-on.
You do want a certain level of passion for the work. That goes with any position that you're hiring for. That's always a big one.
Unique is a pretty good word for that. You could go for an Oregon State and teach a class, and go to Talent Elementary to 5th grade students and teach a class. You've got to be educated enough to deal with both.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of difference sometimes.
Yeah. You can take that comment 2 ways.
Okay.
Okay.
But
yes, so we're not quite ready to start on our budget, but we're getting close to it. And the big question that we would need to address that has the biggest impact is how to address the cost of living adjustment. And so last year, we usually used the January CPI, and last year it was 7.5%. The board chose to make the COLA at 5%. And I think there was a bit of a expectation that was going to be very short-lived, that the massive inflation that
we were hoping it was supposed to
it didn't quite pan out. No. But it is a little bit on the downturn. but anyway, for this year, you know, how I would like to build the budget is, you know, to try to, you know, recover, make up, you know, what came up short last year, is to make the cost of living adjustment at the CPI rate plus 3%. And at plus 3%, what I would do is institute the retirement and health savings account for all the staff. So if they got that extra, it would all end up going into a retirement account.
Have you investigated to see if anybody else does that?
I think a lot of places do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not that unusual. So we have that account right now, but it's strictly
Just for management.
And yeah, we've had that for years. And this would basically, you know, eliminate that difference between compensation.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with it being for everybody.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess you know, we're not going to approve anything like that right now, but
no.
You know, we need to have some basis for when as we move forward the budget. So that's how I'm going to propose to put together the budget. If you want me to look at something different.
I would just like to know what other entities have done it is all.
Okay.
And I know you said before that there's other entities. Is curiosity partly in me?
Okay.
You know.
Most other public agencies are on PERS.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole different formula and everything.
Yeah, that's a horse of a different color.
But I can certainly. I can see what other people.
Just so we have a little bit of background on
okay.
And you're just talking about the retirement health savings account.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, you know, PERS has a slightly different way they approach that, and I know a lot of the other public agencies have what they call was it MSA FIBA, and I don't know what those terms that means, but that's something similar. It's kind of a health savings account.
I just kind of would. I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? Am I off base by? I just want.
Well, I guess when you got a couple separate issues. You got I mean a lot of places they switch things. I mean, instead of giving you a 3% raise, they go, hey, we're going to put 4.5% for you in a retirement account, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the equivalent of something like that. It's just a switch.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think what we're tasked with, I think that's a good idea to make them, you know, to throw it in there. But I think we're tasked with what's a equitable cost of living adjustment for employees.
Yeah.
I think I want to say somewhere where you're competitive in the environment, make sure you're treating your employees well so you don't migrate elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but you don't want to get so far ahead of the pack that everybody wants to come and enjoy it.
Yeah, wow.
Wouldn't
mind people going.
The next year, the thing is, the next year you can't do very much more because you already have some max.
Right.
So then it becomes a big thing, then it becomes a little thing, and that creates psychological problems for people.
Mm-hmm. They
don't feel they're being treated as well in the outreach. I think that's what Kate's trying to get to.
Yeah.
Where are we compared to the pack?
Yeah.
Do you know what your health insurance costs are going to be next year?
The insurance, no, we won't know that probably for another couple of months.
I said that because within the police department, there are two different divisions, the management staff and the officers themselves, they're Teamsters. The plan that involved the command staff rose their rates by 19% within the next year. Now they have individual BIVAs, and it caused probably about 6 hours of discussions and arguing, and still nobody's happy. To the point where the command staff is saying, we're getting the short end of the stick because our insurance went so high. You found competitive insurance. You state that's competitive, but it's cheaper because you don't have all the extras that the Teamsters insurance have. Mm-hmm. So nobody's happy.
Yeah,
and there's no fixing it.
Yeah, so usually with the health insurance rates at the SDO conference, they usually give you a sense of
where it's going to go. Yeah,
so we won't know, at least until next month at the earliest, what to expect.
We could know for certain it'll go up. We just don't know how much it's going to go up.
It's not going to go down.
Yeah, and so, and, you know, since we've been on the STAO policy, it's been relatively stable. I mean, I think, you know, we've seen things like, you know, 5% increases and things like that. You know, we haven't, you know, 19%, nothing.
Yeah, we haven't. I don't think we've seen the double digit.
No, we haven't. I mean, some people have within the same program, but we haven't. So yeah, I can certainly do that. I mean, we can look and see kind of how that would compare, you know, versus, you know, how some other programs are running.
Yeah, there's an interesting excursion you should do, because most people think it's absolute dollar value.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting $1 now, tomorrow I might get $2, you know, that kind of, but it's really purchasing power that's the important thing. So now you have to look at the purchasing power today versus the purchasing power tomorrow. And are you actually escalating, or are you staying steady, or actually going down? Mm-hmm. That's a whole different view of things. That gives you a better perspective of how you're treating your people, because you're increasing their value if each dollar buys more,
yeah,
or buys less. You have to give them more.
And I know, just thinking for myself, when I was working and I had 5 kids at home, the value of what my paycheck was, mm-hmm. and what I was bringing home that way, so I could do all the things I was responsible with the kids at home. As I got older, the value became the retirement stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when they were there, that's what I needed.
Yeah, and the retirement health, you know, the way that's set up is very nice, because it's pre-tax going in, and it's also you don't pay taxes when you take it out, as long as you're using it for medical expenses. So it's, you know, you kind of get a double benefit out of it that way. Whereas, you know, normal retirement, you know, you don't pay taxes at the front, but you do pay it on the back end.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Carl.
Okay, I will do more work.
So I got a question for you. So management's already getting the 3%.
Yeah. Well, so we're not getting. I mean, it comes out. It comes out of our pay. It's not on top of our pay. So it's not that we're not getting it. We're required to contribute it to the retirement fund.
Right, but yeah. So how do you? So the way I read this, staff would be getting a 3% higher raise, mm-hmm. than management.
Potentially, yes. Or everyone gets it, or however that goes, yeah.
Or you're
because you know, management, you know, had the same issue with, you know, we have 7.5% inflation, but we got a 5% adjustment. So there is you know, somewhat of a backsliding there. Right. I would probably do this across the board for all of them, but it would then open up that retirement health savings for all the staff. But, you know, those on the management side of it, they're already contributing 3% of their salaries to that program.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, to make things equal, management would get a 10% raise, and staff would get 7% plus their 3%.
Yeah.
Right. Retirement.
Yeah. Again, you know, I'm not asking for the decision right now, but that's, you know, we need to have some basis for building the budget. So that's how I would propose to build the budget. And then, you know, if you said, you know, and you know, we don't know exactly what the impact would be. We'll be able to know once we build everything what that impact is.
I think the other thing that concerns me is that a sustainable amount, because as healthcare, we know keeps going up. Is the district going to be able to afford to take care of that as years?
We wouldn't.
It doesn't go into a.
The return.
I want to know how it works.
It's just like an IRA.
Okay.
Okay. So it is a defined contribution plan. So we, you know.
So it's like, okay.
So
that makes
more
sense.
So here's how it works right now. With our retirement plan, is every employee is required to put 6% of their salary into the IRA, and RVSS puts 8.6% in. Where those numbers came from, I don't know, but that's always the rate's always been.
Is that pre-tax dollars?
That is all pre-tax, yes. And so what this proposal would change is that, you know, and for management, it's we put 6% into our IRA and of our own money. Company puts 8.6, and then we also put another 3% into our retirement. What this would do is make it so that all the employees are doing the same thing. It's going to be 6% to your traditional IRA, 3% to your health savings, and then 8.6 coming from the employer.
Okay, cool.
And that's the beauty of that type of program is there's no obligation from RDSS after that. The money's in there, you know, it's employees' money. They invest it however they choose to, and it's all up to them.
Okay.
You know, it's not, you know, with PERS is different. You know, PERS, you've got the, you know, ongoing obligations forever on that, which is great if you're an employee, but not so great if you're the employer.
Okay. Thanks for helping me understand.
Okay.
That there, Carl. I just.
Okay. So yeah. So I'll do some more work on that as far as, you know, letting you see kind of how it all fits together.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I just want to understand.
Yeah. And
because we're responsible for doing the right thing.
Yes.
Not just for the cool employees that we have, but for the future as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's true that, you know, personnel costs always increase more than almost anything else, mostly driven by insurance costs and that kind of stuff. But you know, we do need to be aware of that and make sure we're not being reckless.
Okay.
So just one more clarification. I think on this RHS, that's not really a retirement thing, isn't it? It's a health savings account that you can use the money the next year. You can't use the money.
No, we have
for health related stuff.
No, we have a different account. We do contribute some money to employees. It's a yearly thing you can draw out to pay for deductibles and stuff like that. This is not that. This is exclusively for retirement. So when you retire, you know, you're able to draw that money out to pay for COBRA payments or any kind of health related issues.
So that's different than VEBA.
Okay, maybe, you know,
VEBA, you can take the money out
whenever. Okay,
for health related stuff.
Okay, so that's all right. I have to look at. Yeah, I'm not real familiar with the VEBA. I know I see that it's running a lot, but
okay.
Okay. All right, a couple of things that were not on my report here that just to mention. We did talk about rescheduling more system tours. You know, I know Mike was interested. I'm kind of thinking that I want to invite our budget committee to do that as well. I think that would be
really
I think
that's a good idea.
So, and I don't have any times set, but I'm going to reach out to the budget committee and say, you know, we'd like to do this and find out what times would be good times for that.
There are a couple of council people, but I mentioned the fact that I missed the tour. Tania Browning wants to be on the next trip.
Oh, okay.
She's very interested in the lagoons that you have out there. I kind of explaining those.
Okay.
I can't really put it into words because I've never seen them.
Okay.
She really wants to see that, especially.
She'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay. I will. All right. You know, Shane's probably shaking his fist right now.
City council.
So
well,
we will.
I'm going to need one of those buses with an intercom system and open top, kind of like you do in LA. You see the movie stars.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we can certainly you know, work something out there and
He's going to watch Hazard Pays.
Yeah.
I really will want that helicopter, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking
after that.
But if you're going to fit 6 people in, you
need a bigger helicopter.
Anyway, and then just a quick update on the status of Gold Hill. They have put out their request for proposals for hiring a new contract operator. They're having a pre-proposal meeting on February 1st. So we're going to go that and help guide them through that and answer whatever questions they have. So they are moving forward with that process.
Who else going to that meeting with you, Carl?
Kevin and probably Shane.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, and I don't know, what kind of interest they've got as far as people wanting to make proposals, but you know, we're gonna try to guide them through as best as we can and make sure they have all the information they need to be successful on that. So, I think that's a good thing. And that's all I got.
Okay.
Just one thing to add, I went to the city council meeting. The board of directors of the Charlotte and Water District voted very recently to dissolve.
Okay.
But that has to go to the public to say yes. And our council last night voted to affirmatively ask them to come in to our city and be annexed in. So those things are all going to be put on the ballot at the same time that the re-election is on the 16th of May. And we'll start finding decisions on that. It may not impact RBSS very much, but Charlotte Water District looks like it's going to disband, but we just don't know if the people there are going to permit themselves to be annexed into the city, which will expand our boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
And change our zip code. Their zip
Does it
code.
change the zip code?
There's a
They'll
good
change
one.
their zip
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the only impact really on us, because we already serve that area.
Yeah.
But if once it's inside the city limits, the stormwater fee we collect $1 a month that we keep for our program. And within the city of Phoenix, there's an extra $1.50 that we collect, but then return to the city. So that doesn't affect us. It's really a pass through, but it would affect the people there. They would have an extra $1.50 they would pay.
Interesting.
Okay, anything else?
No, I just want to remind you, I'm going to be gone to the next meeting, so we're going to have a quorum here. There's certain people that have to show up. You get a quorum, right?
I'll make sure that Mike Parker takes his vitamins and he's here. Yeah. Okay. Adjournment?
Bills.
Oh, we got to do the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Okay, roll call please.
Kay Harrison,
Yes.
Roger Toll,
Yes.
Jim Snyder,
Yes.
Michael Parsons.
Yes.
Forgot to turn the paper over. Thank you. Now we can.